And I think, in order to wrap up this amazing year, I'm gonna end it like I began it, with the top button all the way up. What a nerd. What an enormous nerd. Anyhow, hello there, Riley. Welcome back to a really special video. I'm going to be doing my annual year in review. Let's talk about 2015 and what happened in it, and what things I enjoyed, and what am I looking forward in the future. As I mentioned at the beginning, I began 2015 wearing a shirt pretty much like this one, with the button all the way up because I was a giant nerd, so I thought I'll finish it just like that. Let's dive right in, let's take it from the top. These are basically a collection of the favorite things that I enjoyed this year. Not all of them came out this year, because reasons, but I want to talk about the things that I enjoyed the most. And I'm talking about video games, music, movies, TV shows, all of those things. I want to start with them right about now. My favorite video game of this year, and I know it's a weird one. I know it's weird because this game came out like 11, 15 years ago, but it has got to be Final Fantasy IX. And I know it sounds weird, but it was my game of the year because I finally finished it. It's weird because I've been trying to finish that game since I was like 10 or 11. I've been trying to finish that game, and I remember that I must have bought it like 4 times. Over my entire life, I've bought that game like 4 different times. 2 of them were in Mexico. I think I bought it once here in the US, and then I bought it digitally through like PSN. I've been meaning to finish this game for years, and I finally did, and I'm getting lots of tweets right now because I'm really popular, I guess. Pfft, me popular? That's a joke right there. Roll out the canned laughter. You know, nobody ever says open up a new can of laughter. Everyone is like, open up a new can of whoop-ass. How about a can of laughter, like... Man, I sure hope Max from the future puts some canned noises here. I mean, canned laughter noises. Otherwise, it's gonna be really awkward. Anyhow, I love Final Fantasy IX. If you haven't seen it, if you want to know what the game is like, I have a full LP of it on the channel. I finished it. It's like 63 parts, but it's done. It's complete. It's one of those things where... And follow me up on this, because sometimes you start something and you don't want to finish it because you're afraid that once it's over, it's going to be over forever. And I felt a little bit like that with Final Fantasy IX, because when I finished it, I realized that it was done. It was over. Forever. This thing that I've been trying to finish for like 15 years is over. Forever. This thing that I first read on in a magazine in Mexico, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, it's done. It's a sad feeling, but it's also a good one, and I'm happy that I finally completed the journey with you along. It was really fun, and if you're one of the people who actually tagged along for the LP, thank you. It was really fun, and it was really touching to see your thoughts and opinions along the way. And honestly, this year was really fun for gaming because I finished a bunch of LPs. I have The Walking Dead Season 1, Season 2, Gone Home, Final Fantasy IX, Shadowrun Returns, Metal Gear Acid, freaking Destiny Fails is finishing as well. I'm gonna do a small playthrough of Emily's Away, and then more things are gonna happen. It's amazing, and I wanna, for anyone who tags along in this channel for my gaming content, I really appreciate it. Thank you. But for that, enough about gaming. What was my favorite album of this year? And I guess I have to cheat a little bit. Because I did not pick up, I haven't picked up Ellie Goulding's Delirium, because I love Ellie Goulding. She's amazing. I love her. I haven't picked up her latest album because I'm broke. Because holidays. But there's one album, to be entirely honest, that I've been listening to nonstop for the past like month and a half. But even so, you may be thinking to yourselves, Max, it's too early in your memory. How can you not think of something else? The thing is, I've been writing to this for longer than a month and a half. I'm talking about the Read Only Memories soundtrack. Back when this game was announced and the website was up, I downloaded the sample soundtrack, which was like 10 tracks, I think. And I listened to it, and it was enjoyable. There were some hit and misses in that soundtrack, but it was the beta after all. And I literally wrote to that soundtrack, even though it was pieces of what would become later, and I enjoyed it. It was actually a really light, fun, exciting soundtrack. And when the game finally came out and the soundtrack came out, I thought, let's pick it up and listen to it. And it's awesome. I love that soundtrack so much. It's so happy and exciting. It's not gritty cyberpunk like it claims to be, let's be honest here. But it's effective at what it does. And of course, Rap Only Memories is the best song in that entire soundtrack. If you haven't already, check out the video that I made on the top 5 albums for writers of 2015. If you haven't already, go check it out because I talk about a lot of really awesome albums and music that you may be interested in picking up. Now, I want to talk about my favorite book, but I'm just really quickly, I want to talk about my favorite movie for this year, or lack thereof. I am a giant nerd and a giant loser. I actually did not go to the theater a single time this entire year. You may be asking yourselves, Max, that's impossible. How did you not actually go to the theater? That's impossible. That's normal people go to the theater at least once a year. I didn't. I was dealing with things the entire year, and those of you who follow me on Patreon, you know, I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and like ever since January of last year, things kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and I don't know why I'm piling it up as opposed to going down, but things kept getting worse, and I never once had a weekend where I'm like, yeah, let's go watch a movie. I heard Mad Max was pretty good. I heard Inside Out was pretty cool. I didn't watch anything released in 2015, to be entirely honest. And I know that sucks, but I'm looking forward to more stuff. By the time this video goes up, I will probably have already seen Star Wars, The Force Awakens, which I heard is pretty cool. Maybe I enjoyed it. If you follow me on Twitter, you already know the answer though. So yeah, with that BS answer out of the way, let's move on to something much more interesting. My favorite book of 2015 is actually a book that did not come out in 2015, but it lingered with me, and it's not even a fiction book. It's one of those things in which somebody tells you something, and you're like, nah, and then you actually try it out later. For some reason, I ended up in a blog post about different pieces of media that you might like if you enjoyed Metal Gear 5 The Phantom Pain. Now, I didn't play Metal Gear 5 The Phantom Pain. Metal Gear Solid 5, excuse me. Oh my god, how can I even be called a fan? MGS5. I didn't play it, but I watched people play it because I can't actually play the game. I don't own any consoles that can actually play it or play it well. And I was reading through that article and they were like, hey, if you enjoyed Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Dongles, you will enjoy this book called The Gun by C.J. Chivers, which talks about the history of the AK-47, the Kalashnikov automatic rifle designed in the year 1947, which is, of course, a classic rifle. Like, if you have seen this rifle because it's part of pop culture and media. And I picked up that book. I picked up the audiobook, and I was surprised because I don't often read nonfiction. I don't often pick like documentary, almost like learning pieces. When I learn about the AK-47, where it came from, want to know how automatic rifles came to be. And I listened to that whole thing, and it was so interesting. It was one of those times where the writer of this book did not only entangle together, because you need to understand, I'm a sucker for story, okay? And character is at the center of story for me. And the writer of this book did the thing where instead of being like, let me tell you about the gun, they wrote about the people involved in the development of guns. They talk about Gatling, who developed the original automatic machine gun, the Gatling gun. They talked about Maxim, and then they talked about Kalashnikov, the man who, in part, designed the AK-47. So like the first third of the book is talking about these people and like how they're intertwined and their personal stories and the development of the machine that they created. Not only that, but he also goes out of his way to describe how actually the machine works. I never knew how an automatic rifle worked. I didn't understand how you can actually make the rounds cycle through the receiver. I didn't know that. This book showed me how. This book explained to me in really clear language how it worked. I didn't know ever that like the reason why there's a kickback on the gun is because that's all excess energy that has to go somewhere. And people like Maxim found a way to absorb that energy and force the machine to cycle a new round. That's how automatic machine guns work. And I know that I'm super gushing. This is not even a fiction book. It's probably not even related to any interests of anyone out there. But if you want to know how the most famous gun of all time came to be, its very early origins and the inspiration for machine guns, and you want to hear as well what it's like for people to try to develop guns, I recommend The Gun by C.J. Chivers. Because it's ridiculous when you learn about countries trying to design guns and you realize that no one has any bloody clue what to freaking do. With that being said, what was my favorite show of 2015? And I was thinking about this a lot, and I had to stop and actually acknowledge that a show surprised me. A show that I wasn't expecting to like. A show that has no right to be this good ended up being this freaking good. And that show is called Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That show has no bloody right to be so freaking funny. From the exterior, it looks like every lame, boring-ass show. It does. From the outside in, it looks like another show about a white guy winning throughout the entirety of the series, just being awesome, banging ladies, and never ever making a mistake. That's not what the show is about. The police department of the 9-9, which is of course the location for the story, is ridiculous. It's full of interesting characters from different backgrounds. Not only that, forget that. I would like this story even if it had no representation whatsoever, but it's amazing because it has all these varied characters, all these varied situations, and it's not, and follow me up on this, it's not a nasty style of comedy. I hate comedies in which it's just people being nasty to one another, and that is not what Brooklyn Nine-Nine is. Like, you need to understand, some of you out there may be telling yourselves, okay, yeah, sure, there's no way it's this good. Kitty told me to watch it. And Kitty is super picky about what she likes. And if Kitty was literally like, Max, we're going to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And we spent like several weeks just like going to her place and just watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And it has no right to be so funny. It really doesn't. And I remember every time I sat down to watch the show with Kitty, I would be sitting there in the seat going, if this was any other show, they would make this nasty joke right here. They would laugh at this character in their face and they would point you out, hey, look at this character. Aren't they short? Aren't they fat? Aren't they stupid? You should laugh at them. Any other show would do that. Not Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And for that very reason, I really enjoy that show. And I can't wait to watch more when more of it comes out. And finally, one last tidbit for all of you nerd trash, weeb trash out there. What was my favorite anime of 2015? It's funny, because I didn't watch that much of winter anime, and I have to admit that myself. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. But something came up early in the year. Something showed up early in the year, and I couldn't help but love it. And it's called Gekkan Shoujo no Sekikun, which roughly translates to a girls' weekly magazine, no Sekikun. And if you remember early in the year, I was talking about how much I love this show. The story of Gekkan Shoujo no Sekikun basically revolves around this girl who has a crush on this schoolmate. Sure, you know that plot. The catch is that this schoolmate happens to be also the manga artist for this super famous and like super big girls magazine. Or girls manga. He writes girls manga. And she basically, through the act of hilarity, ends up becoming like one of the inkers for him and his manga. And the story revolves around her friends, his friends, and their ridiculous adventures and hilarity. This is one of those animes that is based on a 4-frame manga, where basically it's all just jokes all the time. Like, every episode is comprised of a bunch of, like, really cute vignettes and jokes. And what got me about that show is that it wasn't only super cute, full of beautiful, ridiculous, adorable characters, but it was also super light-hearted and sweet. Maybe it's telling of the sort of year that I had, but being able to sit down and watch a show I know that is just gonna be funny and sweet meant the world to me. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Most people out there don't, some people out there don't care about anime, and that's fine. If you even like anime a little bit, watch Gekkan Shoujo no Sekikun. It's amazing, it's hilarious and funny, and it's 12 episodes, and when I finish watching it, I'm gonna tell you this right now. It was the first time in years, since high school, when I finished watching it and I immediately wanted to start again. I wanted to watch it, the entire thing, again. Because it was satisfying, it was cute, it was lighthearted, it was happy. God damn it, it's just such a happy show. And I can't, it's one of those things where I'm like, watch it, you'll like it, trust me, watch it. Also, Kashima is the best. But yes, anyhow, this video has gone on way too long. I want to thank you for watching. This year has been really rough for me. It's been really hard, but I'm looking forward to a new year of new opportunities, new beginnings, new hopes, and many more silly things like that. Okay, I want to thank you, especially you personally, for watching my videos and tagging along with the channel. It means a lot to me. I want to make the best content for you, whether it is me talking about writing advice, me talking about myself and my creative process, or me analyzing stories and being silly. Putting content out there is scary, and I know it's hard for you to take that seriously when I'm the one telling it to you, but it means a lot to see your views and to get your comments and to hear what you have to say. And whenever somebody tweets at me or tells me a joke or jokes about the things that I said, it means a lot to me. It's super sweet, and it's one of the things that helped me get back in this chair and make more videos for you. It really means the world for me. This has been a really stressful year, but thanks to you and your support, it was a lot easier to get by. Again, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everything you did. Thank you for all of your comments, all of your likes, all of your thoughts. I can't wait to see more of them. For the time being, though, I want to wish you Happy New Year. And until the time we meet again, keep writing, writerly friend. Keep writing, keep enjoying things, and until the day we meet again.